you thinking about getting into coding? Maybe for a better paying job, a way to travel the world while you're still working, or as a way to stay current? Is computer programming the right career for you? My name is Will Tollefson. I'm a software engineer in the industry and I've been coding for over a decade. I actually abandoned my plan to become a doctor when in college I took my first class in C programming, and after that point I was hooked. In this video, we're going to go through 3 reasons why you should consider becoming a computer programmer, and also 3 reasons why it may actually not be a good fit for you. The first and most common reason for considering a computer programming career comes down to, well, the money and the job opportunities that come with it. There continues to be a strong demand for jobs in the tech industry, and depending on your specific job responsibilities, you could be making a pretty healthy salary quite quickly. According to various sources, such as the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, Glassdoor, and Indeed, the average computer scientist makes somewhere in the ballpark of $110,000 annual base salary as of the time of this recording. Now, note that 110K can vary greatly depending on things such as your years of experience, your proficiency, the specific role you're doing, whether you are a network admin, an architect, web designer, those sorts of things, database administrator. Beyond that, tech can also be the gateway to many different lucrative business opportunities. Some of the richest people in the world today that we all know, such as Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and Larry Page, all were computer programmers. And what they did is they used their skills to build products and services that we as consumers wanted. And then they built these very successful companies around it that we all know today, such as Microsoft, Facebook, Tesla, and Google. Reason number 2 is that computer programming can easily be a lifelong career that can stay interesting. What I mean by that is you could be working on various different projects, new domains, or different locations, all under the umbrella of computer programming. In an era where more and more of the workforce is continually facing disengagement, this is important to consider in the context of being happy with your career long term. As far as the physical location of where you might work, there's actually quite a mix of both remote and on-site positions in today's job market. The sort of decision of whether you would be remote or in person, a lot of times for companies comes down to whether you need to be collaborative with your team actually in the physical building in the same location, or maybe you have a situation where you have hardware that you need to run your code on and the hardware is only available on a particular physical location. Reason number 3. Computer programming can take you various directions beyond what we normally think of as tech, such as developing machines that save lives, mathematics, and scientific research. Today's healthcare systems rely on tech more than ever, and that means a potential job for you. There's even a whole branch of engineering called biomedical engineering that specializes in this area of tech for healthcare. Hospital monitors, data collection devices, and even surgical robots are becoming more mainstream every day. All these things consist of varying complexities of software systems in order to make them work properly. Mathematics is also a super interesting area of study when it comes to applications in computer programming. While a computer can't solve every one of our math problems that we haven't solved yet, what it can do is it can more efficiently solve certain problems, or sometimes it can actually find the whole solution set or prove that we have found the solution set. For instance, it's really difficult to find large prime numbers, but once you know that you have a prime number, it's relatively easy to validate that it is indeed a prime number, and computers help us find those giant prime numbers. A lot of modern scientific research also incorporates computer programming, especially involving areas such as image processing, big data analysis, and computational modeling. Some models, for instance, actually can model the forces on a protein, and what that does is when somebody has a mutation in their DNA, that model can predict what happens to their proteins, which may affect their ability to see, hear, anything like that. And when we're talking about proteins, we're not talking about the proteins that you consume. We're talking about the proteins that actually make your body, what makes your skin, what helps make your blood vessels, what helps make your ears listen, your eyes see. Today's computer programmers have an opportunity to work alongside doctors, other professionals, to make things happen. Now that you've heard 3 reasons for why you should consider looking at a career in computer programming, next we'll look at 3 warning signs that say that this career path may not be for you. Reason 1. A career in computer programming can be hard work. If you're looking to get in your basic minimum qualifications and call it a day, you might be in for a surprise. Since the industry is continuously evolving, you need to be prepared to put in some work and stay current. Hey, looking for a way to stay current? Subscribe to my channel. Please do me a favor, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Reason number 2. Programmers need to work well as a team. And you might not actually be writing your own code as much as you'd think. So, if you detest working on a team, computer programming might not be a good fit for you. As software gets more and more complicated, what you'll find is more and more third-party code ends up in your product code, and as such, you need to get more comfortable integrating other people's code, whether that is really third-party code or maybe somebody's code who just retired. The day-to-day work of a programmer might have a little bit of time devoted to them writing their own code, but really a good chunk of a programmer's day-to-day work comes down to integrating everybody else's code against their code, writing documentation, debugging issues that aren't directly introduced by their own code, or if you've been around the block a little longer, you might be doing more design or architecture type work, but not doing actual code writing. So, if all that sounds good to you, go for it. Consider a career in computer programming. Just understand that while in school you might be writing your own code and that's what your assignment is, day-to-day software engineers don't usually do that. We might be writing only 10 lines of code in a day, but then the rest of the time is spent integrating the code, debugging the code, testing the code, documenting the code. So here's reason 3 for why you might not be a good fit for computer programming. If you're looking to just write code, things have changed in the last decade or 2. With things like AI and smarter tools, IDEs, things like that insert code already pre-generated for you, you need to be smarter than the tools and apply the code to actual use cases aside from what a computer today could automatically already do. So what I'm trying to say is programming and the skill set expected of programmers has changed over the years as more and more programmers enter the market and more code has been written. Some of the code are these fancy tools that can now generate code that people have already generated before. So there's a higher bar compared to what programmers needed to do 10 or 20 years ago. If a comment like that excites you, trying to continually be ahead of the curve, then go for it. Computer programming is an awesome career choice. However, if that makes you nervous or apprehensive about taking the plunge, then this might not be the right career path for you. Now that you've heard some of the pros and the cons of being a computer programmer, what's your decision? If you have any questions or thoughts from today's topic, I'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and drop a comment below, and I'll see you next time.